Welcome, I'm Sally Treanor, and this is the Watercolor series. Today we're working on clouds. I'm going to be working on a lot of different techniques and talking about the pigments that we choose for realistic clouds and types of clouds and types of kinds of clouds and times of day and that sort of thing. So we'll be specific about pigments and we'll be specific about the tools that we use. So let's begin. So I'm going to use the same palette, but I'm going to add to it burnt sienna. So I'm going to re-wet these colors. So both cobalt blue and the cerulean, but now we're going to add that element. I'm also going to wet just in case I want it. I'm going to add raw sienna or wet it. I don't know if I'll use it or not, but because it's going to give me another element too. All right, again, I'm going to take my thirsty sponge. Remember, thirsty sponge is merely damp, it's not sopping wet, and it allows us to discreetly wet our surface. And I'm going over it a couple of times, so I'm adding a little bit more water than I did last time to make sure I can have enough time to do the effects that I want. All right, I'm going to start out the same way using my 16. Got quite a bit of water in it right now. I'm going to add more pigment. I'm not cleaning my brush in between. So I've just added the cerulean, so it's not clear, just plain cerulean. And I didn't work my brush out enough, so I've got little streaks. I don't like that. Let's add another pigment to the party. So now I've added burnt sienna. It's changing the sky quite a bit. Let's go back to just my pigments that I started with. I'm really sopping wet. And I'm going to move through this and I'm going to leave more white this time. But every once in a while, I'll add a little bit of burnt sienna. And I've been chattering too much, and this is drying out on me. So I'm taking my thirsty sponge. I didn't re-wet it. It's still just the same damp. But now I've regained that nice, not soupy, but damp surface to be able to continue adding paint without edges. Now I've actually re-wet by coming in with my wet brush that I'm discreetly adding. It's got a lot of water now in the surface that wasn't there before. Wetter than when I started. Now I'm coming in with more just cobalt. See what that'll give me. Let's come in with more cerulean, see what that'll give us. It's fun adding the two colors, I think. This is very wet. Now let's come back in with more of that burnt sienna and see what happens. It's not too much. That is not enough. Don't be dotty about it. And you want to keep this all wet enough so that when you want to come back to defining the clouds, you've got plenty of time to do that. I want to come in with a thirsty brush because I'm getting some hard edges that I don't like. I don't like this particularly. And that's just because the paper had dried. That thirsty brush is not going to be so invasive that it's going to change things a whole lot. Now I'm working almost entirely with my mixture. So it's not entirely burnt sienna and not entirely blue. It's warm. I'm touching the undersides of some clouds to start to give them more information. Okay, thirsty brush time. Where do we want that to happen? I'm deliberately not going to white, but I am shaping this cloud right there, but it's underneath another cloud, so it's got a shadow. The truth about clouds is the tops are brighter than the bottoms because the tops are catching the sun and the bottoms are not. I am paying attention to whether this brush is clean or not. I kind of like that edge there. Maybe I will just do a little touch here and there with the Kleenex to see if I can get a couple more of those edges, like right there. Ooh, that's nice. And maybe right here. I like the warmth that I've got going on. Do I want a little more? I can still do that while it's wet. I'm almost just dropping this color in rather than painting it on. Sometimes you might want a little bit of element of excitement going on, so let's mix up something a little bit darker and see what that'll give us. Again, this is very wet down here, so it's going to do my job for me. Again, I'm just sort of dropping this color in rather than painting it on. I have a very controlled amount of pigment and water in my brush. Little bit of darkness up in here. I think that gives a little bit of depth to the sky. Take that across here. And let's take the thirsty brush in here. Change the shape of this cloud here. I don't like that. Okay,